What's worse, mispronouncing the name of an object or mispronouncing the name of a person? I think we can all agree that mispronouncing someone's name is way worse than mispronouncing the name of an object. Now, this can lead to feelings of embarrassment or feeling awkward or just plain old terrible that despite your best efforts, you did not say your colleagues or your friend's name correctly. And if you think I can't relate to this, guess what? I can. One of my jobs in the last few years, I worked with a lot of individuals with very long, difficult to pronounce names that were not a part of standard North American English phonology. So I would try very, very, very hard to memorize and remember the sounds of these names. But sometimes, despite my best efforts, I would call, for example, the parents of one of my clients, and they would say, "That's not how you say my child's name." And let me tell you, that felt terrible, terrible. So I can really relate that this is a really sore point for a lot of people mispronouncing names. So I haven't introduced myself. My name's Victoria. For my subscribers, welcome back, you guys. If you're new here, welcome. This channel's all about American English. So if you're super pumped about American English, stress, sounds, intonation, tips, everything like that, then please subscribe, hit that notification bell, and YouTube will let you know when I post new videos. So in today's video, I'm gonna be teaching you how to pronounce 50 American last names that can be a little bit tricky because English is not entirely phonetic and it has silent letters, and we'll see both of those things happening in a lot of these names. And I will mention as well that a name is a name, right? So the way I'm saying these is certainly the most common way that they're typically pronounced, but sometimes someone might say, well, no, actually, for me, my name is pronounced like this, not the general way. So obviously you still have to keep your ears open for individual variation, but this will at least give you a good starting point. So let's check these out, you guys. 50 American last names that are sometimes tricky. So the first one we have is Smith. Smith. Now I think there are a couple of things that might be tricky about this last name. The first one is the lax I vowel, and the second one is the voiceless TH. Smith. Smith. Next up we have Johnson. Johnson. A few things I want you to know about this last name. The first is, where is the strongest syllable? On the first. John. What sound is on that strongest syllable? It's a low back tense ah vowel. Now, here's the whole trick. Typically, the word S-O-N is pronounced as son, son. But we do not say, this is Mr. Johnson. We reduce that second syllable to schwa and we get son, Johnson, Johnson. Next up, Williams. Williams. The strongest syllable is the first. It is a lax I vowel, wi, and keep your ears open for the fact that the final letter S is in fact voiced, so it's not Williams, it's Williams. Williams. Next up we have Wilson. Wilson. Strongest syllable is which syllable? Number 1, and it's a lax I vowel. The second syllable, just like Johnson, reduces to schwa, so we do not say Wilson, we say Wilson. Wilson. Next one we have Anderson. Anderson. 3 syllables. The strongest syllable is the first, and the sound on the strongest syllable is a nasalized ah, so it sounds like an. The second syllable is the sound and the third syllable is schwa. Anderson, Anderson. Next one we have Thomas, Thomas. The strongest syllable is again the first. And what's the trick with Thomas? It is that it is one of those rare exceptions in which the letters TH do not produce a th or a v, but actually just make an aspirated t sound to give us Thomas. Next one we have Jackson, Jackson. 2 syllables, winner is on the first. The first sound is a tense a sound, and the second syllable is what? Schwa. Jackson. Next one we have Martin, Martin. 2 syllables. First syllable is the winner, and the sound that it makes is an R-colored vowel, R. The second syllable, so syllabic N or schwa N. And for this name, you will notice that I did not say Martin, I said Martin. For this name, there will be a lot of regional variation as to whether or not that T is produced, so it will really depend on how the individual pronounces their own name. Next up we have Thompson, Thompson. Notice there are several things going on with this last name. The first, the obvious one, is that there is no P sound, so that P is entirely silent. There are 2 syllables. The winner is on the first. The sound that the winner makes is ah, and the second syllable is a schwa. Thompson, Thompson. Next one we have Robinson, Robinson. 3 syllables in this one. The winner again is on the first, and the sound that it makes is ah. The second syllable, un, it's a syllabic N or a schwa N, and the third syllable is also a schwa. Robinson, Robinson. Next up we have Walker, Walker. Now what's special about the spelling of Walker? It has a silent L that's totally not pronounced. How many syllables are there? Of course, 2. The strongest syllable is the first syllable. The sound that it makes is ah, tense back low vowel. The second syllable is walker, walker. Next up we have Allen, Allen. First syllable, winner, and it's a tense a sound. Second syllable, schwa n, Allen, Allen. Next one we have young, young. This one is tricky for a lot of my clients. So the vowel sound, there's only one, it's the as in up, and I usually hear people make it a bit too open, so I usually hear yang instead of young. The other tricky thing about this last name is the final consonant. It's a nasal, a velar nasal, so it's young, but there is no g at the end, and I hear that a lot as well. Young, young. Next up, we have king, king. Only one syllable. The sound that it makes, the sound that the vowel makes is a lax I sound. And just like in young, the final syllable is a nasal velar king, king. Next one, we have Wright, Wright. Only one syllable again. It has an entirely silent W at the beginning. The vowel is one of those really low frequency vowels, I. And the way I'm saying it, it has an unreleased T. Right, right. Next one we have Scott, Scott. Pretty straightforward, only one syllable. The sound that the vowel makes is ah. And again, I'm pronouncing it with an unreleased T at the end. Scott, Scott. Next one, we have Adams, Adams. This one's actually a little bit trickier than it looks. So the first sound is the winner, and it makes the sound ah. The second syllable, is schwa, M-Z. But what about that D? Does it make a D sound when I say Adams, Adams? It's actually a flap. So I don't say Adams, I say Adams, Adams. Next one we have Roberts, Roberts. 2 syllables. The first sound of the vowel is ah. Then we have Berts, Roberts. The ending of the ts is pretty tricky. It's an alveolar affricate, so it's not a t, it's not a s. It's really a combination of both. Tss, Roberts. Next one we have Turner, Turner. 2 syllables. The strongest syllable is, which one? The first. Now, it's spelled T-U-R-N-E-R. My question to you is, are the vowels in this word the same or different? Turner. They are the same. So that's the trick with Turner. Even though the spelling of is different on each syllable, they are both pronounced identically the same. Our next last name is, sorry, my iPad fell asleep on me, Phillips, Phillips. 2 syllables, strongest syllable is the first, lax, I, fi, and the second syllable, lups, schwa. Phillips, Phillips. In this one, I'm sure you can hear that the PH makes the F sound, as is really customary with that letter combination. Our next one, we have Campbell, Campbell. Pretty tricky, this one. 2 syllables. The strongest syllable, yet again, is the first. And the sound that the first syllable makes is a nasalized ah, am. You will notice that the letter P is totally silent. It makes no sound. And the second syllable is bull, bull. So if it was just B-E-L-L, we would say bell. But in this case, it's reducing to schwa. So not Campbell, but Campbell, Campbell. Next one we have Evans, Evans. Only 2 syllables. The winner's on the first, and it makes the sound eh. Now tell me, am I nasalizing the second vowel, or is it a schwa? Evans, Evans. It is a schwa. So we're not saying Evans, we're saying Evans. Next one we have Edwards, Edwards. 2 syllables. The winner is on the first eh, and then we have dwords, dwords. So our vowel is and the final S makes the Z sound. Edwards. Next one we have Stewart, Stewart. 2 syllables. First vowel is oo. Second syllable is even though it is usually spelt S-T-E-W-A-R-T. We don't say R, we say Stewart. Next one we have Rogers, Rogers. Now, oftentimes there will be a silent D in this last name, but not always. Has 2 syllables, the winner's on the first ah, and the second syllable has the vowel followed by a voiced z. Rogers, Rogers. Next one we have cook, cook. I can tell you that many of my clients have a lot of trouble with this vowel, which is a lax sound. Cook, cook. Next one we have bell. So different than Campbell, right? Even though they look the exact same, this one is one syllable, the vowel is and it goes right into a dark L, using the back of your tongue. Bell, bell. Next one we have Murphy, Murphy. Two syllables, winner is on the first, even though it is spelt as U-R, there's no oo quality to the sound. The PH makes the F sound, and the final vowel is a tense E. Murphy, Murphy. Next one we have Bailey, Bailey. I know you've spotted the pattern that the winner, again, is on syllable number 1. The sound that it makes is A, and the second syllable, lee, a tense E. Bailey, Bailey. Our next one is Cooper, Cooper. Two syllables, first vowel is oo, second syllable is per. Cooper, Cooper. Next one, Richardson, Richardson. 3 syllables, winner is on the first, yet again. The first vowel sound is I, the second vowel sound is the third vowel is a schwa, sin. Richardson, Richardson. Our next one is Howard, Howard. This one is pretty tricky because there's nothing in the first syllable that indicates an A sound, but in this case, the vowel ow is represented by the letters O-W. The second syllable, even though it looks like W-A-R-D, we say Howard, Howard. Next up, we have Bennett, Bennett. 2 syllables, winner is on the first. The sound that it makes is on the first vowel and n, so a schwa, on the second syllable. Bennett, Bennett. Next up we have Coleman, Coleman. The first vowel is O, goes right into a dark L. The second syllable is not man, it's min, min. So M, schwa, N. Coleman, Coleman. Next one, Powell, Powell. Same vowel sound as in Howard, so it's ow. And then the second vowel is a schwa, Powell. This L at the end is not a light L, but a dark L. Powell. Next up we have long, long. 2 tricky components in this last name. The first is the low back ah vowel, and the second is that nasal that we heard earlier in king, so that velar nasal long, long. Next one we have Patterson, Patterson. 3 syllables. The strongest is, again, the first. The first vowel sound we have is a. Then we have a flap going into patter, patter. And our last syllable is sin, is schwa. Patterson, Patterson. Next up we have Hughes, Hughes. This one's actually pretty tricky to pronounce. So the first letter that we see is the letter H, but what we don't necessarily see is that the following sound is the Y sound, as in yes. The vowel is oo, and the final S makes a Z sound. Hues, hues. For this one, I often hear hugs. Next up, we have Washington, Washington. 3 syllables and not too tricky because we hear this one quite often. The first sound is ah, second syllable is shing, and third syllable tin. So a schwa again. So this word, this last name, also has our velar nasal. Washington, Washington. Next up, we have Simmons, Simmons. 2 syllables. First sound is I, second sound is mns. What sound is that? It's a schwa. A lot of my clients for this last name say Simons, and that would be the pronunciation if there was only one M in this last name, but typically when there are 2 M's, we say Simmons, Simmons. Next up we have Myers, Myers. So 2 syllables. The first vowel sound is I, the second sound is the final S makes a Z sound. Myers, Myers. Next up we have Ford, Ford. Pretty straightforward. 1 vowel, it's R colored, and the sound it makes is or. Ford, Ford. Next up we have Hamilton, Hamilton. 3 syllables. As you've seen, winner on the first, and the sound that the first syllable makes is a nasalized A sound. Ham, O, so schwa, dark L, and then another schwa, tin. Hamilton, Hamilton. Next one we have Sullivan, Sullivan. 3 syllables. Our trick in this one is that the first syllable looks like the letter U, but it makes the sound as in up. Afterwards, we have 2 schwas, Levin, Levin, Sullivan, Sullivan. Next up, we have Wallace, Wallace. 2 syllables. First vowel is ah. Second syllable is what? Wallace. It's a schwa. And the trick with this one is that L-A-C-E as a word is the word lace, but we don't say Wallace, we say Wallace, Wallace. Next up we have woods, woods. Not too tricky other than the vowel, which is actually a really tricky vowel. So woods, final sound is a Z, woods. Next one we have coal, coal. Only 1 syllable, but a few tricky things going on. The first is that we have the vowel O, and it goes right into a dark L sound, ul, coal, coal. Next up we have Jordan, Jordan. Trickier than it looks, this one. So 2 syllables. The first is the sound or, then the second syllable, schwa n, and it is combined via not a D sound, but a flap sound, because both are vowels. Jordan, Jordan. All right, you guys, last one, number 50, is the last name, Reynolds, Reynolds. So 2 syllables. The first sound is eh. Second syllable is a schwa, nolds. The trick with this one, however, is that it looks like the first syllable is Ray, but we do not hear Reynolds. We do hear Reynolds, Reynolds. So that's that, you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.